lips and our mouth sharper.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Wait.
Thank you, Susanna. So hi, everyone. Welcome to our Amnesty International meeting for November. Happy almost Thanksgiving. I hope everyone is safe and staying well. I know things are getting crazy again. So I'm glad we kept our meetings virtual, or else we'd be shifting all over again. So that's really great for us. So for this month, I was struggling a little bit to find a speaker just because it's such a busy time, and also trying to like diversify our speakers that come to the meetings. So I was just telling Susanna, that I personally kind of selfishly chose the topic of the NSARS movement in Nigeria because I think it's really interesting, and I think it really speaks to kind of like social justice movements internationally. A lot of times we focus on obviously things that are happening in our backyard, but this is also kind of a similar thing that's happening, you know, all the way across the ocean. So yeah, that's why I chose it. I originally was going to play a video or two that I found online. I don't know if you guys still want to do that, or if we just want to have our lovely speaker who joined us from Glasgow, Scotland, just kind of dive in. Does anyone have a preference? No, that's okay.
I'll also play the video. Yeah.
Play the video? Okay,
Mhm.
okay. I'm gonna try my best here to do this. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Oops, well, I cannot. Here we go. We want, oh, sorry. I gotta go like this to get there. Okay. All right, we all have to try the audio. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Oh no.
All right, and then I have one more that's short. And this is a little bit more of history versus like the people's perspective.
Nigeria hasn't had anti-government protests on this scale in years. The protesters initially called...
See, what I don't understand is this only happening in Lagos? Or is
Yes,
it is, yes.
it's Lagos.
It's just Lagos, yes.
But it's spread to other parts of the country.
Ah, okay. So it's, because I wasn't sure if it was a state thing or a federal thing. Now, yeah, everyone might not know there's 36 states in Nigeria and they all have their own government, but there's also the federal government. So, but it's happening elsewhere. So, but are they arguing with the state government or the federal government? Well, they don't care, I guess. They just don't want it to happen.
Do you want me to intervene now and say a little about that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. if you want to go into the issue of the NSAS, you need to actually start from who is Nigeria? What is Nigeria? And try to know a little bit about the history of the country and see how do we get to NSAS. NSAS was an organization that was created out of the police to deal with serious crime. Okay. The history of Nigeria. Nigerians will be noted for people that love to travel and live in every nation of the world. And in those days, we've seen Nigeria coming to UK, United States, every part. They live and they always return back home. Because at the beginning, home was sweet, was comfortable. Until when it gets to a certain time, greediness, bad governance started to drive people out, and Nigerians were running out in thousands, trying to look for better life.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we get into that? At the first few years after the independence, we have visionary leaders, and they handled the state of the country professionally. You get to the point, the military intervened, and the country come under the military rule, and that's where the trouble started. The military were unprofessional in terms of economic management. In fact, we have a military president that once said that we have so much money, the problem is we don't know how to spend it.
So when was that? That was in the 1990s?
No, that was 1960, probably around 1972, 73.
Okay, because that was after the Civil War ended. Because the Civil War ended in 1970.
1970.
So Nigeria became independent on the 1st of
1960.
October 1960. That's right.
Yes.
But then the war ended in
The war ended.
The war was very important because it
Yeah.
just messed up everything.
It messed up everything.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, as soon as the war ended, then the fortune of oil started to boom. And then the money flows in. And that's why it was able to say, we have so much money. The problem is we don't know how to spend it.
Okay. Huh.
That was almost about the same time, about when he left, a new military government came in, because there's always a coup d'etat, something like that. In 1979, some group from United Arab Emirates, they came to the federal government, who was still under the military, coming for loan, because everybody here, the country said, we have so much money, we don't know how to spend it. Dubai actually came to seek for loan.
Incredible.
From Nigeria at that time.
I'd never heard that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, because you went to go like this.
Yeah.
It become headache for us. Like, how do we get here? Dubai came to seek for loan. 76, 77, 78. The government then sent people to Dubai like, how can we give people that live in desert loan? They will not be able to pay. Now, we are begging Dubai for loan. Okay, so there was a mess up. The military continued to mess up and continue to mess up because they're professional in handling gun, not in handling economy. Okay, now you get to the point that the younger people, when they were messing up, they were not creating job, and the population started to boom, increasing population. People were finding their way to run out of the country to seek for better life. And as they're doing this, the people in government, the military, They were selling oil. They're sharing the money. They're living in affluent. A younger one can see people, neighbor, living in affluent. Like you said, you went to Lagos, yeah? You stay in Lekki, you stay in Banana Island, don't you,
Right.
Susanna?
Yes,
And
very wealthy place.
and you see how weather it is. If I wanted to ask you then, but I will be quiet. I wanted to ask you, did you find your way to get to around Oshodi? When you are just on the way going to the airport, then you will see how contradictory the life is. From this very high to this very low. Now, the younger ones, they grew up.
No, I did. That's right.
You did.
Yes,
You did.
I did. At one state, once I stayed in a private house. It wasn't Lekki, but it's around that sort of area. They had a
But
fish
you
farm.
can, yeah,
And
so
we
you can
drove all
see.
the way through Victoria Island to the other side. And there, we got through some very poor places.
So you
Very
can
poor places.
see the very massive gap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now the
Yeah.
younger one, when there's no job and the population was growing. So I don't know, most of you probably know Nigerians for being fraudsters, internet criminal, people that do a lot of things.
That is
I mean,
exactly how Nigerians are known in
that
the
is what
United
people
States.
know Nigeria from. Even
Yes,
here
that's
in
right.
UK, I've been in UK for 10 years. If I go to 30 places to work kind of thing, as soon as they say, oh, Nigerian, then,
Nigerian
I
prince.
know where they're going to. Yes, it's been fraudsters. But how do these young people, how do they get to this place? When they were not like that in the 70s. When in the 70s, people will come to UK, study, Nigerians will come, and they will beg them for work. They say, no, I'm going back home. But how suddenly do we become to be known as fraudsters?
Yeah, really.
That's
Yeah.
some of the things you need to look at. And then, because they live in the midst of plenty, but they say nothing. And they see people that are in government, the flamboyant lifestyle, even to their kids. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But that
Yeah.
is not a justification to go about and start selling. But you can see younger people can be desperate. Okay. Now, when the younger one start doing that and they become fraudster, internet fraudster, stealing people's money, internet fraud, everything like that, then this younger one and they try doing it and copy each other, and the population of people doing it become to grow. And now some of them are becoming successful in selling, being a fraudster. And now they're getting close to as rich as some of these people in government. So the government strength at that time was like, oh, we need to control this because all these boys are spoiling Nigeria image over us or abroad. Then they was like, oh, we need to look for a police unit that will handle this. And that's where the issue of the answers come into play.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, the answers with some other organization were to handle financial corruption. This younger one, as they still go over the world, stealing, fraud, any kind of thing, one way or the other, weapons were getting into the country. It become a normal thing to be hearing armed robbery during the day at night.
Oh, I know that. I mean, I
You know that. Okay.
When I was staying at the university with the dean of pharmacy, and his niece and nephew-in-law, they'd just been held up. Exactly that. I mean, it's not the only story, but this was really dramatic. I mean, there's a professional couple, and they just come from being robbed.
Yeah, because
at gunpoint. Yeah.
Because Nigeria, those younger ones, they've been involved in a lot of things. They have contacts all over the world, They have Nigerians in US. They have Nigerians in Europe. For sure, we don't manufacture guns in Nigeria,
Yeah.
but the guns flows in. Yeah. Now they created NSAS.
No, but the reason they did that, of course, was because
Mhm.
the cops aren't effective. You become a cop in order to shake down people. I mean,
I will get into that. I will
Yeah.
get into
but
because
it's a
the
different.
cops.
They're totally separate from the cops. That's
No,
what
no,
I.
there is a unit
It's
within the
part of
cop.
the cops. Okay.
The cop.
Yeah.
So the normal cops normally they go out and probably with sometime maybe if they're in a group of 5, maybe it's be only 1 or 2 of them that we have gun on them. Yeah, the normal cop. So they create that SARS
Oh.
to be like a tougher or higher ranking cop. They all have gone full gun mobile to
And they're
deal with
armed.
armed robbery.
Ah,
You
God.
get the point. So
Yeah.
if you look at it like this, say the
Wow.
normal cops we carry AK-47, but the SARS we carry bazooka and mobile tank.
Okay.
You look at it like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you say the normal cop, we only have a baton on them. And then the SARS, we have AK-47 and bazooka. Yeah. So now, when you do that, initially, you leave the SARS to be like that. And now, these same SARS, they are being paid by the federal government. But what they are being paid is like they are working for the federal government and these politicians who are millionaires, billionaires.
Right.
And then you are paying these people peanuts.
Peanuts. Absolutely.
So now, when they go out and they see all these fraudster young people kind of a thing, the next thing is they will just take them and say, you know what? We know you have money. Then they will say, okay, we have to take you. They take the young ones straight to the ATM. They say, where's your bank card? Take them straight to their ATM. I say, okay, withdraw the money for us.
God.
Or if they see you, like say, you look as if you just come back from the United States as a young person, like myself. I went back to Nigeria about 3 years ago. When I was there, I have to disguise to make sure that I don't wear anything that will show that I just come from Europe. Because if they see you that you dress as somebody who come from Europe,
Yeah.
without anything on the road, you stop after you say, oh, you
You're
look like one of those fraudsters.
sitting
The
duck.
next thing is, whatever you have on you,
Yeah.
your bank card, everything, that's what they're after.
God.
So, and we have young ones who actually become entrepreneurial, they're doing some business and they become victim of this. Those stars, they eventually, if they actually see armed robbery operating, they will go the other way because they will not want to face those ones that have gone. But they will go after the young ones on the street who are actually struggle to make ends meet. If you're lucky, right, that when Susanna, you're lucky that they see you, they could have come to you and say, oh, you're a white woman. So what are you doing in Nigeria?
I've always had
I've
always had a lot of hosts. Once I stayed with the police commissioner of Lagos.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did. And I was driven around with guys with guns and all kinds of, which was amazing. So I got to talk to the police.
Yeah.
And most Nigerians I've met are decent people. I mean, we know that. It's just like any humans. And these cops were decent too. But the problem was that they had accommodations that they couldn't live in. They were just too disgusting.
Terrible place. Terrible.
And they didn't earn enough to have a, they didn't earn enough to keep themselves alive.
It is painful that those very cops, the government budget huge amount of money for them, but the politician that will become the minister will just disappear with the money.
It just takes the money.
The money will just fade. In 2006, there was a big scandal about one of the Inspector General of Police, right? And just went away with the salary of the whole police.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the police were owed like 5 months salary, 6 months salary.
Yeah.
How do they sustain themselves? They go on the street and
They
start
go
collecting
and they
money.
shake them down. I mean, I can
And
remember.
start collecting money.
Yeah.
If they see you driving your car look nice, flashy, they stop you on the road and say, what do you do? You show them where you walk. They say them. They say, so how do you get your car? You say them how do you get it? They say, okay, we know that. So what are you going? They will say, so what are you going to give us?
Yeah.
And if you don't give them anything, you'll be in serious trouble.
Well, I don't
So
know.
the people become victim.
Yeah. Well, once I was in a car and I was driving from one area to another,
Yeah.
and we were stopped 3 times by cops on the same trip,
Yeah.
and no one gave anything to the cops. I mean, they just argued. I mean, it's great. Just argue and argue until they stop. So it depends on your oratorial skills.
They do that. They do that because of you.
Yeah.
If it had been all Nigerians,
Yeah.
it would have been a different issue.
I've never seen anyone hand over money to a cop, even though I've been stopped in cars so many times.
2008, I went to Nigeria with my ex. She's Scottish, yeah, and white. And we went to Abuja, right? We were in Abuja. As soon as they see me with her, they know, oh, you're from Europe. So
Right.
car, they will tell her, no, you sit in the car, and they bring me out. I know, and they're like, no, you're not. I'm not going anywhere. And we've got a lot of things to do. So it was like, I don't want to waste my time. She will be fuming. She'll be raging. You know, and I understand like you're born in Europe. You don't know what these people are like. I'll be the one at the they'll take me to the corner and I'll be the one to pay my way. You just have to give to them. It is convenient for you. It is the last cash on you. You have to. But over the year from 2008, they changed their tactics. And if you say you don't have any cash on you, they follow you home or they ask for your bank card and follow you to an ATM.
So it's become a lot worse.
It just get worse and worse.
It's worse and worse.
It gets worse to the extent that sometimes they will actually take people. You know, the protest actually started because they take about 2 boys. They couldn't get the money on them. They contacted their family. They tortured the 2 boys, first of all. Tortured them. They contacted the family.
Okay.
Family agreed to give them money.
Yeah. Boy.
Well, why the family was looking to get the money for them, the 2 boys died during torture.
God.
Then they didn't stop. They collect the money from the family. But they said, okay, we collect the money, but we release the boy after some time. The parents were fighting. Then we'll give you the money. Give this boy to us. Until after a long, I don't know, maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, a long time, before the parents find out, they actually have killed the money and they've collected the money from them. So if you want, you can count more than, if today, as we're talking now, the news that is on in Abuja was the security guard, that's the security entourage of the House of Rep president, the leader, shot one paper vendor in Abuja. Why? The House of Rep leader was in the car. What happened? I'll tell you. The House of Rep was driving in Abuja through the place, and the people they see, oh, that's the House of Rep. So they always gathered, like they want to collect money. And so for many times, the guy also will throw out money to them. But as he was there, and people are gathering around that. One of these police came out and in fire. And in the report, he said he actually intend to fire into the air. But how do you fire into the air and you aim straight and you shot somebody? That actually was in the presence of the House of Rep leader. So not to talk of the one that was happening in Lagos and other parts of the country. So how many do you want to say? We're still fighting the NSAS issue, and that was actually happening right at the seat of government.
Incredible.
So if you want to count the number of blood that have been letting, the number of lives that have been wasted through police NSAS alone, is more than what countries that have been to war have
So
actually experienced.
what do you want? You want SARS to be disbanded, right?
See, the issue of the SARS is just a cover-up for this protest.
Okay, yeah.
People are fed up of a lot of things.
Right.
But you need a strong point to actually tackle this government or to fight this government. And the government just provide the cheapest avenue, which is the SARS, the police. At the beginning of this protest, the people were actually fighting. These young people were actually fighting for the police.
Mm.
They said, these young people, they identify, why is the police doing this? One, they're badly paid. Two, their welfare is never looked at. Three, in a country of over close to 200 million population, you have a police about 350,000 capacity.
Mm.
So the people were like, okay, will we fight this government? Look into the welfare of this police. Pay them good salary. Look after their welfare. Then we will see if they will continue like that. You know what I mean? So it is headache when you go into this, into the genesis of this problem. It gives you headache. That's why the young was like, okay, now that answers will just be our grabbing point, our starting point. But that's not where we're going.
Right.
We actually were going towards the whole of this government. You have to change for us. Mm-hmm.
Well, Ojukwu wanted in 1967, he wanted a constitutional convention and he never got it. And it's never happened. That's the issue. We need another one in the United States too. No. See, the interesting thing about Nigeria is run by the rule of law. I mean, things do break down. But I remember, 10 years ago when I went to Sierra Leone, to the person I went with, she's very concerned with maternal mortality. And and I was in Lagos for a week before I went to Sierra Leone. And the niece of the house where I was staying died in childbirth, actually, while I was there, which was really, really pretty shocking. Mm-hmm. But what was interesting, though, the difference between Sierra Leone and Nigeria is striking, because Sierra Leone, nothing works. I mean, Nigeria thinks there is an infrastructure and there is a way, it's just not properly funded and the money all sticks at the top. But it does work. There's an agency for making sure drugs work. You know, because I was the guest at one stage of the School of Pharmacy. So I'm well aware of how drugs are regulated and medicines are regulated. But in Sierra Leone, there's nothing. There's nothing like that at all.
I will tell you this. Yeah. Nigeria, there's rule of law.
Yes, there really
is. There is just an abuse of it, or a total disobedience to it.
Yeah.
If you look, Nigerian constitution was like what we call copy and paste of the American constitution. Yeah, we copy and paste American constitution entirely, but we never use it.
But they all
because
do that. All the countries do that. And then they cross out the bits they don't like. And they add other things in
they just we copy it and put it there only to
and
use it
ignore it.
against. The people at the top, they're above the law.
Hmm.
When you talk like this, when you go to Sierra Leone, Liberia, Gambia, and a couple of other West African countries, Nigeria be one of the countries that's working towards their stability.
Yes.
Only those wars. Nigerians
Yes.
work a lot, but we are hypocrites.
Yeah.
You can do it outside. When you come back to the country, do exact opposite.
I have a quick question. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Still working? Okay, sorry. So I was doing some research and I read that the government like said in the past as well as now in this movement that they would end SARS, but they end up just kind of transferring people or something, transferring them to like medical centers, I read. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the truth, but so if the government has said that they're going to end SARS, one, are they actually going to do it, do you think? And two, what, like, I guess I'm just asking, like, what has the government's response been to the protests, like, right now in October 2020?
Okay, I will answer you quickly. And why people do not trust them.
Mm-hmm.
People are fighting, say, we want this SARS to end. That's unit of police to end. Because that's not our problem. It's just one of the points the youth want to use to fight the government. Now this government said, okay, that SARS, we will end it. But as soon as they say we will end it, they said, we will create another one. People are like, huh? You create another one without ending the one you said we will end it, but we will create another one. And people become suspicious that you're just going to put this old one into the new one and call them a different name. So that is not the solution. You just change their name. You have not changed their mentality. You have not rehabilitated them. People are saying that all those personnel that serve in the answers must first of all be taken out of the police. Take them for psychiatric study, rehabilitation, because these are people who have over the years have taken joy in open shooting of fellow citizens.
God.
They just shoot. You know what I mean? And then you want the people to trust you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the same government said, okay, their answers, we will stop it. People are saying, okay, you want to stop it? What are you gonna do? Then they say, oh, okay, we take them to another place or we start training. Then people start to look at what kind of training you're giving to them. Well, the same training and the same police. So what the basic was just that people do not trust them at all. No trust at all. No trust. Because if you want to change, they know how to change. If you want to change, you must take out the rotten one out. You must give a plan and give people how you want to train the next one. Ensure that, okay, this next people coming to fill the gap, we undergo 2 years training. And this will be the model of operation. But you just come with a fire brigade approach like, oh, we end them today, we set up a new formation tomorrow. And people know that you only have 350,000 capacity personnel in the military. The whole of the North is run by armed banditry, kidnapping everywhere in the North.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This police are not sufficient. Out of these 350,000 personnel, almost half of them are guiding political post order. Around the president, around the governor, and everything. So you are talking about less than half of them to be securing over 200 million people.
God.
So it's still going. So it's still going on then. The protest to end SARS, quote unquote, is still happening.
As I am now, yeah, on my Twitter, messages are still going about with the people. People are still sending messages. They say they have NSAS. We still have some reports coming from other cities in Nigeria where police are still been shooting people.
Mm-hmm.
And the same I just told you just now, like what happened in Abuja last night, in the presence of the leader of the House of Representatives. The police is shooting. As the police are shooting, so also the military are shooting everywhere. As I'm talking to you now, along the corridor, the Kaduna Abuja highway, was it 6 inspector assistant superintendent of police were kidnapped by bandits. When bandits are kidnapping assistant superintendent of police.
That's right. Well, then
So
you know you have trouble.
What are you talking about police?
Yeah.
Tell me. If
Wow.
police have now been kidnapped,
Yeah.
and now you're telling us that you're changing the answers to another name. You've not actually solved the problem internally, first of all. And you want the people to trust you. This same government is about trust. This same government, when they were campaigning for us, and we so much support them, they campaign vigorously with one slogan. And the slogan is, we will restructure this country. Last year, when people were getting fed up, right? What are you doing? Then they changed their tongue and they said, we don't actually understand the meaning of restructure. That restructure means different to different people. That was the same government. So how do you trust them? How?
You can't.
So
A government, yeah, I want to listen.
So have you had elections? You know, I mean, are the elections legitimate or?
The election I was last year, 2019. But the people are not the young people now, they're not ready to wait for 2023. They're not ready. We voted for this government in 2015. The patience is now 5 years. In 5 years, you cannot move us forward. They are not ready to be patient for 2023. They're not ready at all. Because the government is not showing any sign that they will do anything. This was the same government. They know that they came in because they promised the people restructure. And the restructure means you want to kind of devolve the power. It could mean different things to different people. We all accept that. But we ask them that define your own restructure. We Nigerians, we've identified the problem to be too much power at the center. You said you copied American Constitution. The American Constitution allows the federal to have power and also the state to have power. In America, you have federal police and the state also have state police.
Right.
Then community have community police.
Right.
In Nigeria, you do not want to accept state police. You do not want to accept community police. When people are saying that your federal police are too corrupt because the distance from their control is too far. It's just like saying police is, if you imagine American with just federal police and the police headquarters is in Washington, how do you, and then how do you want to exercise that instruction all the way to say Hawaii without being diluted along the way? Yeah. So the people are saying, let there be state police that will be closer to the people. And after that, let there be community police that will be closer to the people. Yeah. Because we are a country that will live in suspicion of each other. Yeah. But the fact that we are a country of different ethnic groups. The Northerners, they speak different language. The Southwest, they speak different language. the Southeast, they speak different language. And now you send police from the north to the west.
Right.
They don't understand the language there.
Right.
And because they feel like these are normal people, they can be very brutal to them. So we put say, let me have state police. If the state police are people of among the home people, if you're brutal to us, we will find your family.
Do any of the states have their own police?
They will not accept. They have not accepted.
They have not accepted.
They have
Oh,
not accepted.
so I see. So it has to come from the federal government to allow it.
That is why we voted this government, because they said we will restructure.
I see.
That part of the restructure, that is one aspect. That's not the whole of the structure. That's one aspect of it. That's just one aspect of it. There's a lot of things that need to be restructured. I live in the UK. Within the UK, you have the English, the Scottish, the Irish, the Welsh. And the Scottish have the parliament, the Welsh have the parliament, the Irish have the parliament, and so also the English. And they devolve power so that it make government easier and make government closer to the people.
But that's very recent, and everyone's arguing anyway. No.
Yeah,
but it works.
No.
That's the thing. It works.
Nigeria, we studied a lot, so you don't need to wait for a century to implement a system that is working somewhere.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
If it's worked somewhere, you don't need to wait for a century.
Yeah. See, Nigeria should be the richest country in the world. I mean, there's no question of that. After the Civil War.
I just told you an instance.
Yeah.
When Dubai,
when it was,
is not a very rich country now,
yeah,
are borrowing to Nigeria.
Yeah.
In 1978.
Yeah.
No. Was it 1975? I think Finland and Norway, they stopped. They said they at that time they stopped giving funds to Nigeria because they said, oh, you are very rich now.
Yeah.
It cannot be funding you.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as at that time, the Finland, they said, oh, the size of our economy and was almost about their size. But now,
I knew people who were working in pharmaceutical companies, all kinds of manufacturing, all over Lagos. And then the Naira collapsed. I think it was in 1986. But before then, it was like $3 for 1 Naira. And now it's like 300 Naira.
My dad worked with Dunlop.
Okay, yes.
And in Dunlop, Nigeria pays is a tire manufacturing company.
Yeah.
And in about 78, 79, they came for training in London here. And if we said at that time, Nigerian Naira was equivalent to $1. Right?
Yeah.
At that time, Nigerians
but before that, it was $3 for 1 Naira.
But now, do you know what it is now?
300 Naira?
No, 400.
400.
450.
The last time I was there, which was in 2012, it was 135 to $1. So now it's 400. It's so much worse.
But that is good. That is okay. Do you know why it's okay? It's okay because if that is the only issue we have, we will manage it. But these corrupt leaders, they will actually eventually pack all the money and they will hide it in all American banks and UK banks. That is where all the monies are.
Yeah, right.
Even we have a saying now that I don't know if you know about the one of the past Nigerian military president, Abacha.
I'm sure. He's in trouble.
Up till now, they are still discovering some of these looted money.
Isn't he on trial?
So if you hear Nigeria will say, oh, at least we are grateful to that president that even in his grave, he's still sending us money.
See, oh, yeah.
So
A
that will tell
passenger.
you
I was
how
thinking
much money
passenger.
they've
Yeah.
stolen out of the country, and they eat it everywhere all over the world.
Mm.
They hide it all over the world.
I guess it's.
Frank, did you have a question? Oh,
I guess it's the curse of oil, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of these oil-rich countries haven't developed their own economy, you know? They just, you know, they live off the revenue from the oil and they don't develop the country at all. And then, you know, that's the exception. The few countries that have been able to,
For us in Africa,
very few countries have been able to use the oil to develop their country.
yeah.
Right.
For us in Africa, we actually have been saying that the oil have been a cost to us.
Yeah.
It
Right.
make the leaders so lazy.
Right.
All they just want and all they just wait for is the money from. They are not creative. They don't even invent machine that will extract the oil. They just wait for this oil company to come and extract it and just give us the money cash and they go spend it.
Yeah.
So it makes them lazy. They just want money. And I'll tell you this, even if I'm also an oil company, I will do the same thing. Like, oh, all you want is, they don't even know the capacity that's available in the oil well. They just want, if the oil money can say, oh, oil company can tell them that we will give you $1 million for that. Ah, that's fine. Take as much as they want from that. As long as they got their raw cash, they will tell them, go and keep it for us in maybe JP Morgan, maybe Citibank, and they are okay with that. It make them lazy.
wow.
It's very
Well,
sad.
I did find on Amnesty's website they do have a quick action that you can take. So I put it in the chat, a link to it. So it's just really quick and easy, and it's sending, like I said, it sends like a pre-written letter, but you can edit it if you want. So if you want to put in your own personal message to both the president and the attorney general of Nigeria. So definitely, I encourage everyone to please take a look at that and send in your letter.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I mean, what we do in Amnesty is, I just, you know, it's interesting. I've been in Amnesty now for 7 years, and I only realized this just a few weeks ago. Is that what we do in Amnesty is when a law is broken, we can object to it, but some laws obviously are bad, and we can only object to international human rights laws when they're being broken. So when people are in prison, I mean, one thing we've been really successful in doing is when someone is in prison and everyone writes letters all over the world and we get them out. And that has certainly happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We know Amnesty very much during the military rule in Nigeria.
Good.
When the people then were fighting the military, all these politicians you see, when they unite with the people at that time when we were fighting the military.
Yeah.
We were so surprised that they returned against the civilian, they returned against us now. At that time, when General Sani Abacha was sending all of them to prison, some of them run into exile to United States, all over the world. They were calling on Amnesty International. Amnesty International was on ground, who has their voice. We know it then.
Isn't that
but
great?
Now this civilian you're talking about, they're so intelligent now. They know how Amnesty International work.
Right.
So they know they're now trying to twist and make sure that they make it not to be effective because they've used it. They now know. So what they're trying to do, that's one of the things we are fighting at the moment. They are now working on saying they want to regulate and control social media. So they're planning a social media bill. We have been doing a lot of petition to International Criminal Court of Justice. We have been saying something about against human rights. That's why you see people talking and they're taking pictures, something that will be used when we start a fight, when they're out of power or out of government against that they've done things which are against basic human rights.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, I was reading about that, about the social media, the use of it, one in the protests, and then the government's kind of cap on it. Really interesting.
Did you see the
Egypt
reports?
and
Did you see the report by CNN? Because what happened at the NSAS, when the military get there and they started shooting the young people who are unharmed, the only thing that they have on them is the national flag. They start shooting them there, as in open fire. How do they do that? They know where these people, when these young people gathered. And these young people, they gather that they'll be there for as many days and nights until when the governments attend to them. So at night time, about 7 o'clock Nigerian time, they intentionally switch off the light in the whole of the place. Then the military drove in and they started shooting. The young people, thanks for technology, mobile phone and the rest, they take some of the recording. The government said it was all lie. They're shouting so lie. CLN, being present, captured the whole thing, and they released it yesterday. But the government, CNN, have been they're accusing CNN now for spreading fake news. The people are challenging them now that, okay, if CNN is spreading fake news, where is your own news to contradict CNN version of it? There's none.
Yeah, it speaks to the power of social media, right? I think
So,
that it's a
So
a really powerful tool.
They want to actually switch off that social media power from people. That's what they want to do now. But the people, I'm very sure the people will not agree with them. It's going to be really tough. We will not agree with them.
Interesting.
Gosh.
Thank you so much. This has been.
So it's like 1 o'clock in the morning.
No, I'm okay with it because even if I'm not talking to you, some days I'll be on the social media talking with others. We have a group now within UK, within Europe, within US. We'll be on the meeting till 3 a.m. in the morning. Even though some of us are still, we wake up by 6 a.m. going to work. But because we have to do this because we have people back home.
Yeah.
The family back home. They're suffering. Every day we hear some bad news. We hear people dying, wanting to cross the river from Africa into Europe.
Oh, this is just awful.
Sad.
I mean, if you're getting people going all the way from Nigeria to the Mediterranean, which
they get to Morocco.
They
get to Morocco, and they want to cross the river to get to Europe.
Yeah.
Thousands die in the sea there.
You only do that if you're really desperate.
They give they give no care towards it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the people we that in Europe,
yeah.
right, it become a big shame on us.
Yeah. Oh.
And when you look at it, it's not that the country is not poor not to look after its citizens.
Yeah.
It's just greediness.
Yeah.
Selfishness, wickedness of this minority few that get themselves into power.
Yeah, well, Omoyele and a whole lot of others.
Okay, let me show you here. Omoyele left the United States.
Right, yeah.
To go back to Nigeria. You can see the pain that could make him to, I'm leaving, I'm going back.
Well, 10 years ago, after the Ghani Memorial, they all got together, a whole lot of the Nigerian intellectuals. They all got together and they decided to start a Nigerian parliament in the diaspora. And I went to about 3 or 4 of these meetings. They went on for about, I suppose, 6. They went on for about a year. And people were flying in from all over California, from
coming to join them.
Everything. And then it stopped, and I'm not quite sure why. But I mean, there was just this enormous amount of energy of people saying, well, you know, we're all brilliant, and everyone, I mean, you know, Nigerians are more educated than any other nation. I mean, there's no question about that.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that
I don't
when
know
you
what
see those
happened.
resources,
I don't know what happened, because it started off so well. And OK and Dibby was part of that too. You know, all these other wonderful intellectuals, because there's just so many of them in New York.
yeah,
And
it's a
the
shame.
Yoruba
It's a
group
shame.
was involved in that. The Igbo group was involved. I mean, people, everyone was involved in that. I mean, it wasn't ethnic, it wasn't religious. It was just Nigerians
No,
coming together.
when you meet Nigerian outside, like the platform, like I'm like different platform I'm working with. When it comes to say the issue of that back home, that country, to progress. As soon as we meet in the diaspora like this, yeah, we forget ethnicity.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I see.
We want to look at, say,
that's what I see. Yes.
How can, because we have seen, I would say we have seen Western world.
Right. Yeah.
And we have seen that what it takes to develop is just sincerity, commitment, genuineness of purpose. We've seen it. And so we're like, how can that be missing in a country in the midst of plenty? How can something that work somewhere else get to Nigeria and fail?
Yeah.
How can it be? Because
how can you move the wealth from one fraction that takes everything to help everyone else? I mean, that's the question. Yeah.
It gives you ethic. When you look at it, it's like, even if you're stealing this money, let me in one of the meetings, I argue for the government, say, I agree, steal this money, steal it. But when you steal this money, use it to set up companies within Nigeria and employ people.
Right, and keep the money in Nigeria.
And keep the money there.
Which is
no
issue too.
They would rather go and keep the money all over the world and in a bank account where the money is not useful.
Right. Yeah, it just breaks my heart. I mean, Nigeria, I felt like, you know, we all came from Africa originally, and then we all sort of went north, and we lost our skin color, we lost good teeth, we lost rhythm. That's one of my jokes. Yeah, right.
Thank God. You should have thanked God for that. You should thank God for that, please. Thank God for that.
That's it. But we all came from Africa. And, you know, when I first went to Nigeria, I felt like I was coming home. It's like, you know, after all these millennia, it's like, this is where I came from.
I tell you this. If you have come to Nigeria in the 70s and 80s, you probably would have wanted to go live in Nigeria.
Yeah. Yeah.
When up here in UK, I've met a lot of people. I mean, they say, "Oh, I work in Nigeria in the 70s in this music."
Well, Dorothy was in Nigeria in the 70s.
The current French president, Macron, is served in Nigeria, with the French embassy in there.
Yeah.
And some of them, they will give you the good impression of when things were working.
Then we had Dorothy has a first-hand account. She was in Nigeria in the 70s.
Oh yeah, in 1970 in Lagos, and then all over Nigeria. And at that time, it was really nice there. We liked the people a lot. It was relatively calm. We were campers in a camper, and we brought beautiful sculptures with us, graded them against clothings, not too many pieces. And so Yoruba, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Yoruba culture. Yeah. And we enjoyed it there a lot, but today I'm not sure whether I would go.
No, if you go today, you'll be.
Yeah.
They will have to call your family for ransom.
Yes, right.
Truly. It's so simple.
Yeah.
I told you, even myself as a Nigerian, if I want to go to Nigeria, I will not dress like this.
Yeah.
So I'm not to dress to make myself look shabby, so that they will not know I've come from Europe. Not to talk of if they see you as a white. Oh, yeah, good target, I tell you. They will just call American embassies direct and say, no, we got your.
Yeah, I remember. I
It
can
is
remember
not good.
kids.
It is not
Kids,
good.
yeah, kids coming past me and touching my skin. It's like, oh my God.
It's not good. It's not
'Cause I
good.
mean, obviously, I was only with Nigerians. I wasn't
It's
with
not good.
anyone else.
I, as a Nigerian,
Yeah.
I live in the UK. I go every other place, like say Germany, Malta, going for holiday, and people meet me, they talk, and I'm always happy, like, oh, you also go holiday to Nigeria. But as soon as they ask me, I was like, please. I said, don't go now. I have told people last year I was in
Yeah.
Portugal, and they
Yeah.
were asking me, oh, but going to Lagos. I said, oh, it's lovely, but I went, no, don't
Yeah.
go now.
Don't
It's
go
not
now.
good to go now.
That's a
Okay,
huge
but
shame.
that is
You
what
know?
I want to tell people. I want to say,
Yeah.
also, you also go there, go and experience there.
You see,
People,
because
you know,
the last elections when Buhari was returned, I mean, there was just, well, actually, even no, the election before that, there was,
yeah,
because he's been returned. But when he was first voted in, the fact that it looked like it was a fair election. I mean, I was always told that the way elections were run in Nigeria was the candidate, the elections officer called up the candidate and said, how much do you want to win by?
yes.
And then, you know, they just tossed the votes. But then apparently,
That is why they don't respect us, the
yeah,
people, because the vote don't count.
South Africa, the same thing. I mean, I've seen that. Zambia is an interesting. It doesn't. Zambia is a very interesting country, but I thought Zambia, they mostly behave themselves, but then they've got this guy in Chunga who doesn't seem to be doing well. Anyway, that's beside the point. I could go on forever about African countries because I mean it's been my focus now for about 15 years.
Yeah,
So,
I really, yeah.
but mainly because I'm just so horrified with what we've done to Africa. I mean,
No,
we took
no,
their
we,
people.
no, don't say that. Those
Yeah,
of us that have been able to leave, get to Europe or to the Western world,
yeah.
actually, we don't want to hear that again. That's what you've done.
No, that's right.
We don't
Because
want to hear
they've
it again
gone.
because how long is it going to take us to correct? Yeah, we've come over to
I
this.
understand that.
Yeah,
I understand that, but it's very, very important that we do understand the history. I mean,
yes.
because most
The
people
only
only know.
I will tell you this. The
Yeah.
only thing we always ask from the Western world is when we are shouting, hear the people and support the people.
Yeah, right.
Because you will not. How can you say the majority of people are shouting and then you still want to support their government against them?
Yeah.
That is what pains us, right? If the people are shouting, they are the one at the receiving end of the hardship. Hear them.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can always help.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why even when we hold meeting, those of us in Nigerian diaspora, we hold meeting with those back home, they will keep calling us and we hold meeting with them just like on Zoom like this, kind of a thing. And then we keep telling them, okay, do this. What we can do from here is we can write our petition, we can fund some of the things you're doing.
Right.
Like yesterday, I wrote my petition that is going to the UK Parliament. We've been sending a lot of things to UK Parliament and the rest from here.
No, I'm a British citizen, and the UK Parliament gives me the right to make petitions to the UK Parliament and to vote on petitions. So, is there one there that I can? That's yeah.
We will be sending a lot of on tweet, directing them to the UK Parliament.
But you can actually make a petition to the UK Parliament that goes straight. And,
Yes,
and if you have a certain number of people signing it, they have to debate it in Parliament, which is really interesting.
Yeah, but I caught with the information I've been getting, right? Because they've been sharing those on the platform. Like on the 23rd of this month, which should be next Monday, that there will be a UK sitting.
Okay. All right.
So I want to believe the people that there must have been some petition being sent to them over it. Also, they've been, like myself, I've sent messages on Twitter to my MP, the MP in Glasgow. I will also come to work in Crawley in London. I've sent it to that, and encourage a lot of people like that to be sending their own to that.
Can you send us information about how we can be helpful?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you if you could drop your email in the chat, or even your Twitter handle, and I would love to connect, and yeah, we can send out resources. I think that's
okay.
So great, especially for Susanna, who's a UK citizen out here too. So
I was born in England.
Definitely.
I was born in Bristol. Yes.
Yeah, that'll be super great. Definitely. We do have a little bit of Amnesty business that we have to take care of quickly as well. I'd be happy to continue this conversation afterwards if you guys wanted to stay on. But we do just have a few urgent action letters that Dorothy created that I definitely want us to get to before the end of our meeting.
Maybe,
there's your email.
And Desmond, maybe we can also invite you to our next meeting too, so that we can see what's going on. So you're a member. You're now a member of the Philadelphia Amnesty International.
Thank you so much for that opportunity. Thank you so much. I'll quickly send you my my Twitter handle now as well. I'm not somebody that
great.
But the issue at hand actually was like, no, I need to start using this. Yeah,
so we're your secret weapon.
Thank you for that.
No, thank you. Thank you for being here. All right, great. So I'm gonna, you're free to stay or go either way, but we'll definitely invite you to come back next month, where it's gonna be exactly a month from today. I believe it's actually the 18th, December 18th will be our next meeting, and it'll be like, December 17th will be our next meeting, and it'll be like kind of holiday themed. So yeah, please join us, and feel free to stay now, but you're also more than welcome to leave. It's up to you.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yes, and we'll include your email and everything. Thank you so much. This was such a great surprise to have you here. I'm so happy.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, power of Twitter, exactly.
I'm mad at Agazzino. I don't know what happened to him. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna pass the mic over to Dorothy now. Dorothy, if you wanna go over your urgent action letters that you sent around.
Yeah.
And just before.
I'm not on. Yeah. Okay. What?
I just dropped in the chat the link to the Google Drive folder for this month as well, that has the letters in it, in case folks don't have them open right on their computer.
Okay.
So thank you for this great talk. Really, it was so informative. Now, I'm not on video today because I'm actually sick, and I don't want to be looked at. I don't feel good at all today. But I want to get this out. So I sent the urgent action letters out only today. And one urgent action is about Iran. And now the urgent network, just for everybody, is one of the best institutions or things Amnesty International is actually doing, in my eyes, right next to prisoners of conscience, taking care of those which I'm also responsible for. So these urgent actions, they change all the time, because if you don't react immediately, people might die, they may be executed. So it's very important that one reacts immediately, and they're usually not on the Amnesty International website for too long, because either it happens soon that they get found or released, or they disappear, and then often Amnesty International has to stop its work on these disappeared individuals. So it's very important that one reacts immediately to save the life, potentially. So one of these actions, I have selected two, is for Iran. And it's an Austrian-Iranian prisoner who is 73 years old. He has dual citizenship, and he has been detained. It's not clear for how long, but clearly his life is at risk. And he has very serious medical conditions. He has been tortured. He has been promised to be released and returned to Austria, but all the promises, it required really torture from him, and confessions which were absolutely not true. He was accused of espionage for Germany and also collaborating with Israel. So that he received funds, bribery from both these governments, and then he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. He has denied all charges, and his trial was very unfair. So, so we are asking his release, and that he will get an international fair trial according to these standards. And he has a very heightened risk of severe illness because of the COVID crisis. So there is a letter which needs to be sent by email. So all these letters are sent by email, so it goes very quickly to the head of the judiciary, and that's Ibrahim Raisi. And that's the only letter. There is no other address given. Usually it's the ambassador who gets a copy, but we were not provided with any address or the name of the ambassador. So the second urgent action is for Paraguay, and there are two letters, one to the ambassador in Washington, and the other one to the Zimbabwe Commissioner General of the Police. So this case is a woman who was attacked by a group of 9 people and who threatened her to burn down her house and kill her if she wouldn't give up her campaign for the indigenous people. And if she wouldn't give up opposing the plantation of environmental and cultural grounds. So it's all about a plantation on land that pertains to that community. And so Bernarda and other indigenous leaders proposed the plantation on environmental and cultural grounds and are concerned that all communities have not given their consent for that project. So, and then last not least, I'm going to our prisoners of conscience. I could not find any additional addresses in addition to the ones we have sent letters to last month. So I would like to ask you, and I think Frank, thank you, Frank. He already responded. Urgent Action Network emails I sent out, and I sent the prisoners of conscience letter out, all 5 of them, which were sent last month, so that you don't have to.
I found those, yeah.
I sent all 5 of them out again, so please change the date.
Yeah.
Send them out again. And for next time, I will find some other addressees, totally different. For example, his wife is very actively campaigning for him. We can contact his wife and let her know that we are concerned about him and trying to make the government aware of these violations of laws. So, so in this letter, we are requesting a thorough investigation of the authorities in this disappearance, and then bringing those suspected of the criminal responsibility a fair trial. So those who are looking into this case, that they don't get persecuted, and then that he's not subjected to torture, and that they in general stop the practice of arbitrary arrests, and that they fully implement the provisions of the United Nations. And then we call the government of Zimbabwe, we call on them to respond, to respect the rights of freedom and expression, and so on. And then it goes on and on that the Human Rights International, the Declaration Human Rights Defenders should be honored. So you can insert then everywhere your signature and then send it off. So this is the case where we will work on until he hopefully gets released, whereas the urgent actions is more or less a one-time thing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Dorothy. Thank you so much for all your work. I will make sure to put the POC letters from last month in this month's Google Drive folder as well, so it's all in one place. And I can change the dates on there too, so that it's all together.
It's important that you send me a confirmation what you sent out, because Amnesty International, the central office, really needs to know how much is done on every case. They need this for fundraising, they need this for continuing on cases, many, many reasons. So, and I will inform them then they collect these data and they can use them for many, many purposes. So let me know how many you are sending and on what case.
Yeah, we'll do, Dorothy, and we'll include those directions in the email as well.
We had some Nigerian letters, didn't we? What happened to those?
I think so.
Yeah, that was another urgent action.
Yeah.
If the urgent action is no longer frontline on the website, we usually go to the newest ones because these are the most urgent ones where we can maybe achieve
Okay.
very significant results. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. There was a Nigerian urgent action.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
Iraq. Iraq.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Egypt.
It would.
Vietnam.
It would also, I just wanted to ask you all a quick question too, as far as, because if I remember correctly, the meeting in December from last year was like a holiday party
Yes.
to celebrate. Is that correct? Is that
That's
something?
right.
Letter writing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we would do Right for Rights, right?
Right, like 10 letters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
they're doing it this year too, the Right for Rights. So what you do is you get yourself something nice to drink and nice to eat, and you join.
BYOB, right?
That's right. And we have a party remotely while we're
Yeah.
writing things. It's fun. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess what for next month then, we should all plan to come with Right for Rights letters and a drink and a snack and maybe even dinner. And we can just all kind of get together and celebrate together and write some letters and get those sent out.
That sounds like
Nice
fun.
idea.
Okay.
I like it. Yeah.
And it's probably a good idea to have it a little longer. You know, because I mean, one thing always with Right for Rights, trying to get everything under 2 hours, and you're drinking wine and you're eating, and it's just too much. So it's better if you, so you join at 6:30 and try not to, you know, you can fall asleep at 9:30. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Does anybody know what's happened with Ron? Is Ron still involved or not really?
I have not heard from him. I have emailed both of his emails, and I also have texted him, but I haven't heard back.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure, but I will, maybe I'll try and give him a phone call before the next meeting to get him in. So
Maybe he's taking a break, you know?
yeah.
I mean, he is 89.
True.
Oh.
Which
He's
is
allowed. He's allowed, right?
Well, I remember Dave Rendell. He had a meeting in an Amnesty International meeting in Cherry Hill, and I went to one of his meetings. And their treasurer he said, "I want to resign as treasurer. I'm 94.
Oh boy.
And David said, "No, you can't. You're too good at this." And then he died. Oh,
oh my God.
So he was going to resign as treasurer no matter what. Yeah. Yeah. So there we are. So let's not act like David Rendell, forcing people to keep on going when they really don't want to.
Age is just a number, right? We don't need to worry about that.
That's a good one. Yeah. Age is just a number.
Well, yeah, you bet.
All right, guys. So our business, I guess, is done for the evening. So if you want to hop off. I think Susanna's in charge of the Zoom call tonight. So Susanna, if you want to stay on and chit chat, we can stay on and chit chat. It's up to you.
Oh yeah, no, I'll stay on until the last dog dies. Right?
I'm gonna hop off because I have not eaten dinner yet and I'm starving. So I'm gonna go get to myself some food. But I really appreciate all of you coming every month. It really gives me great hope and solace. And I talked to our area coordinator, our field organizer this week, who's back from maternity leave, and she was really excited to hear that we're still trucking along. So props to all of us.
You're the best coordinator ever, Amara.
Oh, please get out of here. Thank you all. I'll see you next month for holidays. Have a good holiday and stay safe.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'll sign off then. Everyone. Oh, I didn't say hello to Frank. Everything okay, Frank?
So is this your Zoom account, Susanna?
Yeah, this is mine.
Okay, good for you.
I paid $100 for a whole year. It's a bargain.
Okay,
So
thank you.
anyone wants it, I mean, I can just do it for you. I mean, it's
Okay,
it's mainly for Amnesty and also for Quakers, but Quakers
Right.
are always
okay, great. Well, thank you.
That's good. That's
I'll
good.
see you next month. Thank you.
I'll look forward to seeing you next month, and
Okay,
Frank.
good. Thanks for
Sure.
joining us.
Yes, for
Okay.
sure.
I
Okay,
enjoyed
God
that.
bless. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I love the
Mm.
picture of the sea.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
So, Susan, did you
Yes.
say? Um, I know it might be too late now because today is Friday already. They are saying that the Parliament is 23rd, but I think maybe before I'll see if whatever I can do to know if it actually happened or not. But I think in the near future, I'll probably have to write a petition. But I do know that they were sending out, this kind of internet signed petition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do
Are you a
saying that.
British citizen? Are you a British citizen?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you are. You can sign it too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only advantage I have of being a British citizen.
Yeah.
Because I can't vote, obviously. I left England in 1957. You know, I'm 69. So I left in 1957 when I was 6. So I haven't lived in England since then. I grew up in New Zealand and then Australia. My parents were medical doctors, and they dragged me to New Zealand, and then they dragged me to Australia.
They just move you along with them.
They just moved us along, and I escaped.
But I also tell you that is typical of Scottish family. The Scottish actually, they travel. My ex-wife, I told you, the Scottish, they have family in New Zealand, Australia. The Scottish move is Canada, especially around the Nova Scotia area in Canada. So the Scottish are noted for. They are noted for spreading out.
Everyone in New Zealand is descended from Scottish Presbyterians. They are.
Little wonder we have very small population in Scotland. The population of Scotland is about 5 million. You know what I mean? Little wonder for that.
It's funny because when I was I spent quite a bit of time, well, not a lot of time, in Edinburgh. I've been to Edinburgh about 3 times. I've been to Glasgow and Aberdeen. But it was very interesting because I'm 5'10", and taller than most people.
You're taller, taller than average Scottish lady.
The Queen who was beheaded by Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. Queen Mary the Scots.
Mary of Scots. She was like my height. I mean, it was amazing. When I was in Edinburgh, I was looking around. I thought everyone looks like me. I've never been anywhere before where that's been the case. It's like, my God, this is me. That was really weird.
But I think the American actually just getting to you because I think American actually have that characteristic of being gigantic in a way.
They're not. They're tiny. When I first came to the United States, I couldn't believe how short everyone was. Tiny little women. They're like 5'3". My mother was only 5'1", so I know small people. But I mean, to have a whole Americans they're a lot taller now than they were. I used to always be the tallest woman everywhere, and it's not so anymore. It's not so anymore.
Maybe that's what we see.
Young people are very much taller than they were. Yeah.
Maybe that's what we see in
my daughter's 6 feet. My daughter's 6 feet tall. She's
most of the thing we see in media is America are averagely taller than everybody.
They can't be. The diet is horrible. They spend all their time sitting inside watching television and playing video games. How can they be tall?
That's what we actually see all the time. Even when I live briefly in the Middle East, and I can tell you that the few Americans that I met when I live briefly in the Middle East are very tall people. You know what I mean?
Maybe you had to be tall to be there. Yeah.
Or maybe you have to be tall to be.
What kind of engineering are you? Electrical, you said.
Mechanical electronics.
Mechanical. And I have my middle son, Miles Picala. He lives in San Francisco, but he's a robotics engineer.
Robotic. That's what actually I'm getting into now.
Oh, he was building things that moved from when he was little.
Oh, that's really good.
He came home from university, his first year in university, and he put wheels and a motor on a couch.
Oh.
Because he wanted to move the couch from one side of the room to another. But he went to San Francisco 4 years ago to Megabots is the organization. And what they were doing was they were building giant robots that were like 20 feet tall in order to smash each other.
Wow, like a kind of a Star Wars.
I tell you, and it was all about movies, and they got all this venture capital. And for 3 years, and every week there was a video, and Miles was looking kind of, you know, being the electrical. He's terrible on camera. It's kind of. Ugh. But anyway, then they had this. They had this tournament with Japan, and for 3 years, you know, we are going to fight Japan's mega giant. So they go over to Japan, they pour all these millions into it, and the Japanese robot goes.
Oh,
and the American robot just went splat. So that was the end of that. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It just reminded me of there's this American program which I love to watch. This sitcom comedy, The Big Bang Theory.
The Big Bang Theory, yeah.
I love it so much. In one of the episodes, so the guys, they had Sheldon and Howard, and they built a robot to fight the robot of what's the name of this other guy? I can't. It's a robot, but so they believe that robot is so strong, but it's the other guy robot just just dismantle it.
You know, it's so funny because Americans have, you know, in my house, I feel like I live in my, when you come into my house, you drink tea and it's like you're in the British Empire. Although, of course, there is no British Empire anymore. So, you know, when I'm in my house, I'm not in America.
Yeah. No, I think it's only you, America, that actually will say there's no more British Empire. And that's why America will not accept to be part of the Commonwealth, because we are bigger than that. We're bigger than the roots now. America are bigger than the roots.
Americans just think they're bigger and better than everywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and of course it's
so
not.
the bigger than the roots, they cannot be under the British Empire and the Commonwealth longer anymore.
You know, we don't even know if America's still going to exist. I mean, look what's happening at the moment. You know, it's interesting because I've been to Nigeria and I've understood it. And I've also been in an organization where a Nigerian has moved in, taken all the assets and collapsed it. It's been very interesting. I've seen what's happened. What's happening in America is they're trying to turn America into Nigeria as fast as
yes.
And that is, and people are not realizing how dangerous it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
You know, it's
do you know that this American thing actually gave us even a lot of shock, because at the beginning of this instance, we also are divided, because we're trusting, we have our trust on Donald Trump, but we know that he's so consumed with the election, because Donald Trump, we believe that it might show a bit of, it might intervene. We are not really sure about Joe Biden, so it does affect us in a way, because we don't know. We believe that if this election, say it does not take place, say this election would be, say, next year, we believe we will have put a lot of pressure and a lot of pressure on Donald Trump. Donald Trump, for who he is, Donald Trump is very vocal.
He's a great. You know, I live in New Jersey, and he moved into New Jersey with his father's money. He had 3 casinos, and he bankrupted them. You know, he's like the first person in the world to lose money on gambling and alcohol. You know, if you want to make money, gambling and alcohol, and everyone in New Jersey knows Everyone in New Jersey knows someone who's worked with him, worked for him, and not been paid. I mean, we were really shocked in New Jersey that other people believed his lies.
No, but I think those of us outside, what we believe about him was like, at least because he's able to come out and say, "Oh, for all the Western world leaders, I was openly come out and say I support Christianity," kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Why? He doesn't care.
A lot of people tell us it was a lie, but
you know, but Joe Biden goes to mass every Sunday. He doesn't talk about it. He goes to mass every Sunday. You know, the first thing he did on election day was go to the graves of his dead wife and his dead children, and then and go to mass. You know, I mean, Donald Trump is such a fake. This is the thing, and he has been right from the start. And he's evil. All he's done is just taken money from poor people and given it to rich people. Exactly what's happening in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And you see, that's the thing, because all you know is what you can see. So you're seeing all these positive things, which are all awful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, when I'm involved in a discussion, like we debate like this, and I will tell you, okay, what I like to look at, read something into the background. You see, when you are a spoiled child, you will not expect more, like what you're seeing from Donald Trump.
Right.
I tell people, I said, he was born into money. He never lifted a finger, never walked. So probably, definitely, he doesn't understand how it feels like to walk and to go through pain to make ends meet.
And that's who we do not want as president.
And exactly, you can see the arrogance and the pride in him when he was doing that program, when you have to iron and fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes somebody who is just proud, who have never been through the downhill to get to the uphill, to say, "Oh, you make one mistake, you're fired." You know what I mean? So, you know, you see that. So I always say, I wouldn't expect more from somebody like that. If you meet somebody who go through downhill to get to the uphill, that means they struggle in life before they make it, before they make ends meet, before they become who they are.
Yeah.
They are well managed.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Joe Biden is 78. But no one who was supporting him really liked him completely.
Yeah.
I mean, they like him as a person because he's obviously a very decent person. But what we're all thinking is that Kamala is going to be the president. And we love her. She's wonderful. I was part of her campaign early on. She's young, she's gorgeous, she's India, she's Africa, she's Europe, she's America, she's the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I mean,
and also and a bit of everything, like a bit of everything in that.
She is so sophisticated and so brilliant, and she can speak on her feet very well. You know, so I mean, Kamala is really the future, but we have some other people too. But I don't know if there's even going to be in America. I'm at the moment on American television, on podcasts. There's a series on the rise of Nazism and the steps.
Yeah.
My God, my late husband, he died last year of Parkinson's in Germany. He was a German physicist. I married a German physicist. Okay. So my two younger children are German, and of course, and I knew his parents, and his mother was a Jew, born, and my Lothar was born during the time of the Holocaust in Germany, and when you're born Jewish, you know, they tried to kill you.
Yeah, for sure.
So you know, I'm very well aware of what can happen when murderers take over, which is what happened.
When they take over, yes.
Yeah, and it sounds like, I mean, in Nigeria, it's not that the murderers have taken over federal government. It's just that the greedy people have taken over. I mean, they're essentially
no. It's
not
both
true.
of them. It's both of
Yeah.
them.
Both of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you follow the trend also,
Yeah.
you'll be hearing that right from the beginning, right from since last year, Nigerians have been shouting of herdsmen, herdsmen, herdsmen. Those are pastoral pastoral farmers that they take the cattle all over the country. Yeah. We've been shouting it. Unknown to us, but we know, but we overlook it. Just like you're about to say something just a few minutes ago between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. You said Joe Biden was not actually your interest, was Kamala. Yeah.
Right. Right.
But you look at the two evil. Let's assume that it's like, oh, we better go for Joe Biden
Oh
instead
no,
of
no,
Donald
he's not
Trump.
evil. No.
No, I understand, but I just want to
Yeah.
make a comparison.
Yeah, no,
We
that's
at
right.
that time we look at Goodluck Jonathan and Buhari.
Exactly. And Bahari.
So we're like, let's just go for this one. We believe this one. You know, they're
But no,
not both of them.
there
Both
was
of them
a
are not
third
good.
choice. There was a third choice. The guy, what was his name? I met him, but he only won one state. This very thin. He's Muslim. What was his name?
I can't remember him. See, in Nigeria, because our election, the vote doesn't count. If you don't belong to that two mainstream party,
Yeah.
it just don't. Just
Well,
like
it's the same. It's the same here too.
yeah. So Buhari have been one of the patron of that pastoral farmers. We do know that the northern Nigeria, they are majorly, especially his tribe, the Fulani, the cattle areas.
The Fulani and the cat. I've heard about that. I mean, it's very strange, isn't it? But
the Fulani,
the Fulani cattle herders are murderers.
What happened is let's start from their history so that you get a brief understanding about them. The Fulani tribe, they spread across the Western African region.
They're mostly from Senegal, aren't they?
From North Nigeria, Senegal, Mali, right. Niger, to some part of Gambia and the rest. Mm-hmm.
And they're nomadic, and they've got cows.
They're nomadic. They go with the cow. They are the one that actually forced Muslim religion into northern Nigerians.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. In those at that time, many centuries ago, they tried to also bring the jihad into southern, especially to the western Nigeria. But western Nigerian would resist them, and it was a war. We drive them back. So that is how the Fulani are. They're cattle, that kind of a thing. And since they've been within Nigeria, it's been okay. But of recent, we've been having a nightmare about them, of their Islamic jihadist propaganda through all this Boko Haram and the rest, the ISIS and the rest. The herdsmen, they were normally cattle rearers with just their stick, now carries AK-47.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so people have been shouting on this president that, okay, we know you're a former military president, and we know that, okay, you will not tolerate this. But every noise that the people make, they say, these cattle, they're coming down south into west, into east, and they're carrying out atrocity. They go to people's farm, they go to villages, and they just AK-47. Where sorry for saying this, Nigeria is just American, where people are permitted to have guns.
But before, they were just peaceful people.
They're peaceful people.
They went from being peaceful people to being cold-blooded murderers.
Exactly.
You see that? That's weird.
And this government, this Buhari, he did nothing about it.
I see.
That is why people start getting suspicious about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can remember when I started going to the Ibu Catholic Church in West Philadelphia. That was in the end of 2011.
Mm.
And right around 2012, there were people coming back from Nigeria talking about being slaughtered
Yeah.
in Nigeria. So I mean, this has been going on.
It's been going on. And they get to the peak as soon as this Buhari get into power, because they feel like, oh, that's our man there. And it was just like, and if the president turned a blind eye to it, it's just like, there
was a guy from that church. He was some kind of a doctor, and he went back to Nigeria, and he was part of Buhari's campaign. PDP, I think he was PDP.
Even it's part of Buhari campaign to be APC.
Okay, I can't remember the political parties. I used to know them. Yeah, I can.
No, myself.
Because on October, in October we have a march in front of Nigeria House.
Yeah.
To celebrate Nigerian National Day, and I can remember my people who were friends of Zahori.
Yeah.
Seeing me talk to someone from the other side, and they brought me over and said, no, you don't want to talk to him.
You belong to this place.
That's the wrong party.
Yeah.
It's like,
see,
okay.
all of us, we blame ourselves. Even Showore himself, blame himself, because me, everybody, we all work for this body together.
I see. Yeah, well.
Unknowingly that we are working for somebody with a devilish.
For the devil.
Agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can remember the name of the other guy. He was very interesting. I remember we were eating together, and he let me take some fufu and taste his food. I love Nigerian food. Oh my God.
Yeah. No.
It was lovely.
No. I feel so sad because I tell you this, the country have got lots to offer.
Yeah.
To the world.
Oh, it is.
In terms of saying
exciting, brilliant.
No,
everything.
It's good for people as human beings for all to say, oh, I go to Thailand. Oh, you go to Nigeria. You go to see places. We have got lots to offer.
Yeah.
But now, all what the world can see is turbulence, a fearful place, a dangerous place to go.
Yeah.
Right? And every time we do meeting, I always tell people, this is not who we are. This is something along the line. Tune us, change us into this. This is not who we are.
Do you remember Cardinal Rex Lawson?
Cardinal
Rex Lawson, the Cardinal. Rex Lawson. High Life music.
Okay, yes, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
I knew his brother. His brother lived in DC. He was an agricultural engineer, and he came to the United States. I don't know. He died last year. He died about a year ago. I'm really upset about that because I hadn't realized he died. And but before he died, he was 75. I mean, he wasn't young, but but I was just very upset that he died. Yeah, he was a good friend for about 15 years.
Really good.
But anyway, he used to have a meeting. He's Kalabari, and they'd have a meeting every week by phone for like 2 or 3 hours. I mean, this was 15 years ago. And they put together a university, a Calabar University. They've managed to actually start a university, which is pretty good. But he was building a house in Port Harcourt, but everything, and he was always going to go and retire there. But he was never able to retire because he wasn't rich enough or something. I don't know. He worked for the federal government. He had a nice salary. I don't know. But he was working right up until he died, which is very sad. I just think that's, I mean, he was always talking about his house in Port Harcourt.
Kind of it's in that way, yeah.
And he just, and he, you know, a lot of Nigerians go home, go to Nigeria to be buried, but he's not. He's buried in Washington.
Yeah, I love Nigeria do that because especially when they come to Europe or America to live, because it's easy for you to go back and retire back in Nigeria because we always see that it's cheaper to live that way. It's cheaper, right? Because and it is cheaper because of the failure of the government. That's why it's cheaper. And I'll tell you how it's cheaper. In the Western world, right? If you want to have your property, you go on mortgage.
Right.
And then you can pay the mortgage maybe 20 years or 25 years, depending on how long you signed for. Yeah.
Right.
And then once you move into the mortgage, naturally, there'll be water supply to the house, there'll be electricity supply to the house, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
However, in Nigeria, you do everything yourself. You have to buy the land.
Yeah.
You have to build the house.
Right.
you have to construct the borehole to get your water.
Right.
Electricity is not stable. You have to buy a generator.
Oh, this was a huge problem in Nigeria.
So
huge problem.
It's like if you look at this thing,
and this road, you buy a beautiful Mercedes, and the road is crap.
And the road will destroy it for you.
Yes.
So now, if you look at that, when you buy your land, you're like your Ministry of Land.
Yeah.
When you build the house, you're like a Ministry of Housing.
Right.
When you provide your own water, you're like the Ministry of Water.
Yeah.
When you provide your electricity, you're the Ministry of Power. You know what I mean? And then to top up, because of what we just talked, armed robbery and the rest, you have to make sure you get enough money to pay for security guard.
Yeah.
So you're Minister of Defense.
Right.
So now, eventually, how does it now become cheaper? Eventually, if you've used all your youthful year to do that and build the house, by the time you come back and want to retire, then you know that, okay, you're not paying any bill.
Right.
You're not paying a bill of water.
Because it's your own water, it's your own everything. Yes.
That is why people always labor and they want to go back to retire there.
Yeah.
Because at the end of life, the only thing that you are left to pay with probably to buy the gas or the petrol or the generator.
And then and then you get to be 50 and you have a heart attack and there's no ambulance.
Forget about that. If you have an attack, that's simply death sentence already.
It's a death sentence.
There is no any.
But this is another problem too. I mean, how many times have I heard of Nigerians going home and dying? Well, and the other thing too, they've lost all their immunity to malaria.
Yes.
So they get malaria, they die, or they get a heart attack, they die, or they have a car accident.
Yeah.
Or the plane blows up flying in, like that poor man Pius.
Yes.
Oh, that was incredibly tragic.
So bad. That is one of the things we're fighting for.
Yeah.
Do you know for the whole health sector, the budget was about 28 billion naira. However, for the Senate and the House of Rep, which is made up of just 465 people, the budget is 382 billion. For 465 people, the budget is 382 billion.
So you know why people want to be politicians.
Do you say that? The budget for the whole country for Earth is just a small peanut of 28 billion. You can see that.
I know. I know. I tell you.
So that was what at the beginning I told you. I said, if we want to start, we will not end.
See, this is the thing too. I mean, all we can do at the moment is just make some complaints against SARS, because that's.
Mm.
I mean,
we want to complain.
Those of
We
us
want to
from the
complain.
outside can't be telling people inside Nigeria what
Yeah.
to do. But
We
what
want to
we can
we
do
want to
is we can
complain.
take guidance. We can take
Yeah.
guidance from Nigerians
Exactly.
who say, you can help with this, and you
Yes.
can do it. I mean, that's
We
what
want to complain on no funding towards Nigerian military from any outside. Like towards the police, towards the military, no support of funding towards them. That's one of the things we want. Like, if there is no, because how can you be funding them and they can be using live bullets on young
kids.
people who are protesting
Yeah.
unharmed? And CNN did their reports, and all the bullets they were shot were purchased from Serbia.
Oh God.
So that is one of the things we want to say, that our complaint will be no support funding towards the military or the police from the Western world.
Is there enough?
We know that they
Yeah,
we know that
right. Okay,
they cannot manufacture bullets. They
Yeah.
cannot manufacture weapon. So if
Is there enough outrage in Nigeria to have civil unrest, where you have? I mean, obviously, a civil war wouldn't be like the Biafran War. That was very, very different.
no, we are moving towards that.
You are moving. That's what I'm wondering. That's what
we are moving towards that, because
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: there's a lot of meeting going on between the Biafra, the West, the Yoruba, and the South, and say that it's going to be enough is enough. They
so
don't
it's the
want
same
it
thing all over again. It's the same.
No, they don't want it to be. In 1967, it was only Biafra that fight the whole country. But this time around, they don't want it like that. They will say, okay, it's going to be either the whole South versus the whole North.
Gosh.
So we are drifting toward that.
You see, in the Biafran War, Hausaland was very happy for Biafra to split off. And originally, Yoruba land was quite happy for Biafra to split off. And then the British, the Russians, and the Americans said, no, you can't do that. We've got to kill, we've got to blockade, we've got to kill, we've got to genocide all of Biafra.
This is why we do blame the British at that time.
Oh, yeah.
British, because the issue was like, when it was about the time for independence, the whole southern region were educated enough. Yeah. But the British felt that these are too educated. They still want to have indirect control.
Well, that's right, because all the oil lands were in the...
Yeah. So they look at it and say, okay, it's better for us to make those who are not educated enough to be the president over this. So they went to the north, and then they rode through. They make to the north. And at that time, the north were not prepared. Even we are supposed to have our independence like in 1957, but because the north were not prepared, the British preferred that we can easily rule through the northern people. These southerners are actually exposed. They are more educated now. The public will not accept all the control from them. So they went ahead and hand over the government to the northern.
Well, because all the military was in the north too.
In the north. So that is how the problem starts. So at that time,
Captain Oakday, who was my host on Banana Island, he escaped from the north. He actually had to hide in the water tank of a train because people were being murdered.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a very dangerous situation.
Yeah.
You better go to bed. We'll talk some other time.
Okay.
We can talk all night, but you need to
I'll tell you, because for the past 2 months, this has been my routine, because I just can't get it off my head. When we hold meeting like that, we even with guys in America, and sometimes the American guys, Nigerian ones, they forget that when you are still there, It's our night time here.
Yes, that's right. Go to bed. I'll talk to you soon. Just
Thank
tell
you
me,
so
because
much,
this is
Susan.
my
Thank you
Zoom
so
account.
much.
I can always set it up.
Yeah.
God
So much.
bless.
Night.
Good night.
Bye.